Welcome back to AUB's Innovation Park on Virgin Radio. My name is Arthur. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Lemonade Fashion and the entrepreneur in residence of AUB's Innovation Park. With AUB, what our aim this year is actually to help Lebanese people turn into entrepreneurs and to make the world a better place, start local, go global, become the successful person you always wanted to be. And that is my aim with the show. I want to introduce you to a lot of the successful entrepreneurs, the investors, the CEOs. And you know what? Entrepreneurship is not always ups. Sometimes you have ups, sometimes you have downs, sometimes you're going to succeed and sometimes you're going to fail, but you don't really fail until you give up. Your first idea might not work, the second one might. And today's guest is Wajih. He's the founder of CleverCue. CleverCue went through a lot of ups and downs, and Wajih is going to share with us today why is it okay to actually fail and what does the journey of entrepreneurship look like. Make sure to tune in after these songs, and this show is brought to you by the Talal and Madiha Zein AUB Innovation Park. This is Innovation Park with Virgin Radio. My name's Arthur. I have Wajih with us in the studio. Wajih, welcome to Virgin Radio.
Hi Arthur, thank you. It's very nice to be here.
Thank you for coming. So Wajih, you're the co-founder / CEO of CleverCue, right? And what did CleverCue do? So I know that you guys started, you did some cool stuff, but what happened next?
So CleverCue is an all-in-one student dismissal solution for schools. So we manage the process by which a student gets out of class at the end of a school day and they get handed off to their parent that is waiting for them at the gate. Unfortunately, we went through ups and downs, like you said, and in the end, we decided to stop CleverCue because we were not able to sell our solution to schools. And I guess that's a very brief of what we went through.
And where were you in the cycle when you guys decided to stop? Like, did you actually develop the product, or was it pre-product where you were doing market validation?
So we actually built an MVP, a minimum viable product, something that schools can actually use to start dismissing the kids. But we were not able to get past that. So we had a couple of schools that were willing to test our product, but at the end, when the time came for them to actually start testing, we were not able to finalize on
Right.
that.
I have so many questions, but we're going to do a small song break and then we're going to be back. Welcome back to AUB's Innovation Park on Virgin Radio. We're discussing with Wajih the ups and downs of CleverCue. So CleverCue was this very cool startup where it's mostly for schools and parents and kids all in one solution where it's a dismissal thing, right, Wajih?
Exactly.
So if kids are leaving the school, it tells the moms when to queue up to actually pick up the kids so it doesn't create a lot of traffic jam, there's no waiting, and then you actually pick up the right kid. Imagine picking up the wrong kid.
And that's exactly one of the things that we were betting on, that safety would play a very important role in CleverCue to schools. So they would look at our solution and say, this is the solution that would prevent any safety issue from happening at the school.
And how did you come up with the idea? What was the inspiration?
So I have a relative of mine that works at a school in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, she approached me saying, we have a problem. A mother is complaining about the time she has to spend at the gate in front of the school waiting for her kids under the sun, and we need a solution for that.
You know what would be a good business, Lara? It's actually to open up like a coffee stand or an alcohol stand next to the schools, next to the drop-off place. That would be such a cool business.
You know, they actually do that. They open coffee shops because the drivers that come to pick up the kids, they go and buy their coffee and they spend some time together.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to listen to Katy Perry and we'll be back. So Wajih, from CleverCue, you were telling me that you guys are doing something cool, but you decided to stop. What was the mindset behind it? Like, what made you take that decision?
So there were two main factors. First, we decided before we began CleverCue that we have a limited runway, because my co-founders and I came from a background where we've been out of work for a while and we needed to make some money quickly. And when CleverCue started, I did the quick calculation that any entrepreneur usually does in the beginning. I called my co-founders and said, $10,000 from every school. Let's get 3 schools. This would give us $30K and we would each get paid over 3 months. Let's just build and sell. But when it came down to selling, so we actually built in around 4 months and we started to sell, but we were not able to get any school to actually pay us money and start using the software. And this is where we decided
But were the schools interested?
The schools were interested, but the problem is they take a lot of time because
Yeah,
of the
because
politics
schools have
of the school.
yeah, but it's a long life cycle, right? On
Right.
average, it takes about 6 months to be able to close the first school.
Right.
And it's that's why they add up. Like if you do 20 schools now, but you close 10 of them in 6 months, and then in the meantime, you're talking to more. So it's a much longer sales cycle, right? So we call it the sales cycle, but it takes time.
100%. And this is one of the things
So
that...
do you think the mistake was that, was the mistake the idea that you have? Like, do you feel like it wasn't validated, or do you think it was just the calculation of how much time it would take you to do this?
So it was actually both. The idea, validation-wise, we did not validate enough. So we validated with, like, let's say 10 schools. We saw some traction, but that was it.
Right, this is actually a very interesting topic. I want to give it a bit more time for it. But Wajih, what's your favorite song?
It's anything by Macklemore.
Anything by Macklemore. This is Innovation Park with AUB on Virgin Radio. My name's Arthur. We have Wajih with us, the co-founder of CleverCue. So you guys recently decided not to keep going, and we were discussing what was the problem. Was it the idea, or was it more of the timeline that it took to execute on it?
So it was actually both. We did not validate enough. So we had to talk to much more schools than we did. We talked to like 10, 15 schools at most. What we needed to do was to spend time with at least 50 to 100 schools, understand exactly what the problem is before we actually start building anything. And we did the exact opposite. We thought we had enough validation because we had one client that was very interested to pay for this. And we started building as soon as we validated with them. And that was the main mistake.
What was the other mistake?
The other mistake was we had a limited runway before we even began. So entrepreneurship is a long-term game. You can't expect it to start paying off after 3 months. You need to give it time. You need to be able to sell.
It takes so much longer.
Yeah.
So what I can tell you out of experience is that if you think it's going to take you a year, it's probably going to take you 3, right? So whatever amount of time you think it's going to take, just multiply it by 3 or 5. Because actually, people think success stories happen overnight. They don't. It usually takes years and years and years of hard work before you get an overnight success,
100%.
right? So, but I always thought CleverCue had a very cool idea, and I think you guys are onto something. I just think you need a bit more time, right? You need more time, you need more guidance, you need to be part of a program, and I think that's where AUB's Innovation Park usually comes in, right? Because we guide the entrepreneurs to do that. Laura, what is the song that your mom likes? I never asked you that.
My mom's a big fan of anything Queen, anything, I guess she likes Tina Turner, Whitney Houston.
Because she's such a queen, right? So let's listen to Queen.
Vintage. Okay, we'll do Queen. Queen's a good band.
كم وين صرنا؟
We're
5, I think.
doing 6 now.
6.
بس يا ريت كملتوا dude صراحة. Like I wish you guys went through the program.
Backstory is stuff. نحن كان صلنا شي 6 أشهر ما قابضين مصاري.
I understand. نحن سنتين ما قبضنا.
لا مان بس نحن لأنه كنا عم نشتغل يعني we're already coming down into it عرفت يعني فايتين 6 أشهر صلنا بلا شغل وما قابضين عليهم شغلين 4 أشهر منهم ما قابضين the company just
I get it. It's a tough journey. This is AUB's Innovation Park on Virgin Radio. So Wajih, you guys recently decided not to continue with CleverCue, right? And there were 2 problems. One, it takes so much longer to build a startup, and you guys were not mentally prepared, to go through that very long life cycle. And then second, you feel like you needed to validate the company a bit more. So my question is, does this mean you're giving up on entrepreneurship, or are you still gonna go out there and build companies and build businesses?
Definitely not quitting on entrepreneurship. So I've been working in software for the past 6 years, and the 3 or the 5 months that I spent on CleverCue were actually the best months of my career. I learned a lot. I did things that I never thought I would be able to do, and I met a lot of cool people who I learned from a lot. So entrepreneurship is definitely the thing, but what I learned is to give it its time, to make sure that you have enough mental readiness for it and even financial readiness.
But that's amazing, because failing in entrepreneurship is not a taboo. You actually need to fail, and you need to fail fast. If you go to San Francisco, which is the hub of entrepreneurship, the motto there is that fail and fail fast and fail repeatedly, because the more you fail, the more you learn. And most entrepreneurs become successful on their 3rd startup and so on. So if you look at the history, like even Mark Zuckerberg had like 3 failed startups before starting Facebook, right? Same with Elon Musk, same with everyone else. In Lebanon, we might think that failing is such a bad thing because the way society looks at it. But actually, if you look at the core of entrepreneurship, you need to fail as fast as possible. And I think that's something that you guys did well. Like you failed fast, and now you learned from it, and you're going to keep on going. So that's such a cool trait. Good job on that one. And we're going to be back with a final segment after these songs. This is Virgin Radio with AUB's Innovation Park. My name is Arthur. I'm the co-founder of Lemonade Fashion, and I have Wajih with me, the co-founder of CleverCue. So Wajih, what's next for you? What are you planning on doing now?
Right now I'm looking for a job, to be completely honest with you, because what I'm looking for is stability on the mental side of things. So I also need to be able to make some money right now. And I'm planning on building something on the side because CleverCue was a learning experience. For me, the main idea that I learned is when you want to start building on the side or start validating on the side, so that when the time comes where you actually need to spend your full time on the startup, you are able to sustain yourself.
Yeah. There are actually a lot of different schools of thoughts on this. Like I actually went all in when we got started, and we just worked really fast to be able to get a bit of grants and a bit of investment money so that we can start sustaining ourselves. But yeah, the first year I actually did not get paid, and I needed to find a bit of support. Now, luckily I had a bit of savings, and then my mom helped out a bit in the beginning. So that was a big pressure off. But yeah, it's a very hard journey, and that's one of the things that we do with AUB, right? So with AUB's Innovation Park, we make sure that you have the right support, and we try to give you a certain amount of runway so that you can sustain yourself and build a business. And I really look forward to having you in our program with any other ideas that you have, because again, that's entrepreneurship. You fail, you fail, you fail until you actually win. So don't be afraid. So if you're listening, don't be afraid of making mistakes.
100%.
Go for your ideas. And now you don't regret it, right? Like
Definitely not.
If you hadn't tried building CleverCue, you would have regretted. You would have been like, what if I tried? But now that you did, you know why it didn't work, and now you're going to build the next thing. Lara, what are we listening to?
I'm gonna go with something upbeat, hype, inspirational. Let's do Aloe Black the Man.
Perfect. We had another great show today with AUB's Innovation Park. I hope if you guys were listening to this, you got inspired, you learned something from this. The biggest takeaway was that entrepreneurship is ups and downs, and you're going to fail your way to success. Don't be afraid of failing. I know in Lebanon it's a bit of a taboo, but in San Francisco and all of the actual entrepreneurship hubs, you need to fail multiple times before you become successful. I failed a lot, and then we started succeeding. People like Zuckerberg failed a lot as well. And with AUB, our aim is to actually give you the roadmap and the support to do that. Wajih, you wanted to say something about iPark?
Yeah, so you just said entrepreneurship is ups and downs, and if I hadn't been, my co-founders and I, at AUB iPark and around the people that we were around at AUB, we wouldn't have been able to pass the downs that we went through. So huge thanks to the AUB iPark staff and the startups that are there. They were our main support system over the past couple of months.
Perfect. Remind me to pay you for that after the show. I'm
is-
kidding. That was purely organic. So Wajih, thank you so much for that. If you're listening, please go to AUB's website. It's aub.edu.lb/iPark. You can see all of the events that we're doing, the details of the program. Just become part of the community. Surround yourself with entrepreneurs. Even if you don't have an idea yet, just come to our events. Get to know us. Be part of the vibe. Be part of the energy. You will get inspired. You will build your connections. And one day, you will become an entrepreneur, and I hope to host you on the show as well. So this show is brought to you by the Talal and Madiha Zein AUB Innovation Park. My name is Arthur, and I will see you next week. Have you ever wondered how ideas turn into successful businesses? Do you want to become an entrepreneur but don't know where to get started? Join me, Arthur, this Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. on Virgin Radio Lebanon. Join me, Arthur, this Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. on Virgin Radio Stars, where I'm chit-chatting with the CEO of CleverCue, Wajih.
Hi, this is Wajih, and I can't wait to see you this week.
Where we actually covered the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and how to fail your way to success. This show is brought to you by the Talal and Madiha Zein AUB Innovation Park.